obviously. I mean, it's not going to even be close. I heard, I don't know if we can put this in there, but Chibu was fucking up Chase DeMoor in a spar, which, and that's crazy. And by the way, Chibu's an excellent fighter. Don't get it fucked up now, but that's fucking crazy. So, yeah, I mean, it's not going to be close. I mean, at all. Andrew's obviously going to finish him. And then hopefully we see Andrew fight KSI next. That's the one that everyone wants to see, for sure.
Good. Would you go to that?
I'll pull up to that one.
You will come.
I'll go to that one. It'll probably be what? Dubai, probably?
Yeah.
I'll go to that. If they fight, I'll pull up to that for sure. That'd be a good
Well,
fight.
you went to Dubai to meet him before, didn't you?
I've been to Dubai. Yeah, the first time. That's right. I was in Dubai a few years back, so I'll definitely pull back up again for sure. I would love to. Mam's invited me to this fight next month, but again, you know, we're not gonna, you know, I'm not gonna go to that one, but I'll definitely go to one for sure eventually.
Chase DeMoor dropped a bombshell accusation. He publicly alleged that Andrew Tate deliberately stacked the deck, inserting multiple favorable clauses directly into their fight contract. This wasn't about competitive skill or rigorous training, it was about the very structure of the bout being fundamentally skewed. DeMoor claimed everything from the number of rounds to weight limits, venue selection, and even specific equipment requirements were meticulously tailored to ensure Tate's advantage. It painted a disturbing picture of a fight potentially rigged from a legal and logistical standpoint, long before the first bell had even a chance to ring, questioning the fairness at its core.
Really in my DMs, this new generation of people don't understand the lines. Karma is real. Wishing genuine harm on people or insulting people's coaches or doing these terribly things.
Your coach is about it.
You end up paying the price. And we're gonna see on the night.
Fraud.
I promise you, continue to disrespect me. Unfortunately for you, you're not gonna have a career after.
I'm the heavyweight champion. I do what I want. You do what I say.
The controversy escalated further with a dramatic twist. Andrew Tate's return wasn't just as a fighter, he was simultaneously announced as Misfits Boxing's Chief Combat Executive Officer. This newly created powerful position within the very promotion he was fighting under cast an immediate dark shadow over DeMoor's contractual allegations. Tate's influence, effectively replacing KSI's power in the organization's decision-making structure, fundamentally shifted power dynamics, intensifying scrutiny around his debut fight under the banner. He wasn't just a competitor, he was literally helping to run the show, raising serious conflict of interest questions.
My only question for you is, Andrew, is why did you want 6 rounds and not agree to the 10? Because you don't have the gas tank. Why did you want a weight clause? Because you're not big enough, you're not strong enough. Why do you want your venue, your city, your everything? Why are these the questions that nobody's asking you? We all know the answer to them. We just don't want to say it because you're surrounded by a bunch of yes men.
Despite these alleged stark disadvantages, DeMoor publicly declared his unconditional acceptance of every single condition. His rationale was straightforward. The absolute priority was simply getting Andrew Tate into the ring and making the fight happen. Regardless of what perceived odds were stacked against him, he framed himself as a perpetual underdog, accustomed to being counted out and dismissed, pointing to a history of defying expectations with explosive early knockouts. This defiant mindset, he confidently suggested, would empower him to overcome any contractual hurdles Tate might have secured behind the scenes, purely through his fighting spirit.
I am the guy that's coming to put you away for good.
Just like this, although I am going to beat you, from the bottom of my heart, all bullshit aside, all bravado aside, even though you just threatened a man with 4 children with brain damage, I genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, hope you get up and you're perfectly good at it. That's what I hope.
I hope you wake up in a hospital.
Well, that's the difference in our characters, and we're going to see which one God rewards.
The battle transcended mere contractual disputes, escalating into deeply personal psychological warfare. Chase DeMoor took a significant step further, targeting Tate off the canvas entirely. A post went absolutely viral online, showing DeMoor posing conspicuously with Bryce Stern, influencer who was previously and very publicly linked romantically to Andrew Tate. The image strongly implied a friendly, perhaps even affectionate connection between DeMoor and Stern, a calculated move designed to strike directly at Tate's pride and ego, hitting him where it might actually hurt emotionally. This was a clear, intentional provocation, far beyond typical fight trash talk. This personal jab was reinforced by the subsequent release of screenshots, alleging direct messages exchanged between DeMoor and Stern. These supposed DMs suggested Stern genuinely enjoyed spending time with DeMoor and felt remarkably comfortable around him, implying a real, developing chemistry. The implication was completely obvious and absolutely intentional. It was designed specifically to provoke Tate on a deeply personal level, rather than purely as a competitor preparing for a fight. This psychological warfare was next level, and everyone watching could see exactly what DeMoor was trying to achieve, aiming for an emotional rather than just physical impact.
It's the biggest fight you could have in this world. Jake Paul.
I think it would be. I think that would be quite a...
I faced off a couple of years ago. Was that just a climb up?
Yeah, we faced off and then I got thrown in jail. So we had a slight delay, but that would be the biggest fight. Jake's a little shorter than me, but we're around the same height. Everyone talks about Jake like he's a YouTuber. He's not a YouTuber, he's a boxer. He trains to the time, he has his own gym in his own house, a ton of money, best nutritionist. Jake's a boxer, he's a serious competitor, a serious contender. And that would make me a lot more money than Darren. So maybe that's why Darren's so desperate to try and get the fight with me first.
Amidst this swirling vortex of accusations and personal jabs, Jake Paul reignited the entire crossover boxing conversation with an audacious, almost unbelievable claim. He declared himself 100% certain that he would dismantle and completely rotate Andrew Tate in a boxing ring in almost no time at all. Paul predicted a quick, decisive finish that wouldn't even go the distance. This single bold statement instantly sent shockwaves through the influencer boxing community, completely reigniting what might be one of the loudest, most explosive potential rivalries in combat sports, captivating endless speculation.
You know, what do you think about him being the CEO? You're fighting the CEO of the promotion that you're fighting for.
A 38-year-old man coming off his prison sentence, he comes up there and puts me down in the first 7th round, then I would retire from fighting entirely. It's not for me. So I'm feeling very confident going into this. And I think if you remove the followers away from Andrew Tate and take him for what he is, 4-3 light heavyweight boxer, and I was just fighting a random guy, these guys on the internet, these guys on Twitter would be like, oh, you're fighting a 4-3 guy that fights at light heavyweight. You're going to dominate him, you know, because he's got the cult following, because he's got this. People are trying to say he's more than what he is, but you have to take it for what it is, remove the followers, and let's go fight. The followers aren't fighting for you in the ring.
Paul's camp is actively battling a persistent narrative that attempts to diminish his boxing legitimacy. Everyone needs to stop talking like Jake is a YouTuber. They vehemently argue Jake is a boxer. They point out his substantial financial resources, dwarfing 99% of professional boxers, a full-time training camp, dedicated trainers, and 7 to 8 years devoted to the sport. The label just a YouTuber is vehemently dismissed as a really good sales tactic, serving to underestimate him. From his perspective, Jake Paul is unequivocally a professional boxer, period, with a life dedicated to the craft. The idea of the Paul brothers going toe-to-toe with the Tate brothers has simmered beneath the surface of the influencer fighting scene for quite some time, a constant background conversation that never truly faded. But now, recent comments and major developments have dramatically pushed this potential matchup right back into the glaring spotlight, making it front and center. Everyone is talking about it again, dissecting every angle and every possibility. The narrative has shifted profoundly. People are no longer asking if this fight might happen, but rather when, signaling immense momentum. The timing for this potential super fight couldn't be more irresistible. A perfect storm brewing in combat sports. Jake Paul is actively preparing for what could be the most massive step up in competition he's ever faced in his entire boxing career. Simultaneously, Andrew Tate is making his dramatic return to the combat sports arena after years away from the ring, a highly anticipated comeback. Both men are making career-defining moves right now, creating an explosive, high-stakes narrative that fans and promoters alike find utterly captivating. Everyone involved can practically smell the money and attention this collision would generate. Jake Paul is currently deep in a grueling training camp, fully committed and locked in, preparing for what can only be described as a dramatic David versus Goliath type bout. His opponent, heavyweight boxing star Anthony Joshua, a legitimate world champion boasting real credentials and formidable knockout power. This matchup alone, just this single fight, already has critics and supporters arguing intensely over whether Paul has genuinely bitten off way more than he can chew this time. The debate rages. Has he finally crossed the line from unwavering confidence into outright delusion, facing a truly elite established champion? Despite this absolutely massive looming challenge against Anthony Joshua, a fight that would typically make most fighters tunnel vision completely on their preparation, Paul has not shied away one bit from discussing future opponents and what comes next. Andrew Tate's name keeps surfacing persistently in these conversations, particularly in discussions involving his brother Logan Paul and popular streamer Adam Ross. It's spoken about less like some distant hypothetical and way more like unfinished business, a confrontation that's simply sitting there, waiting for the perfect moment to explode into reality on a grand stage. The whole conversation surrounding a Paul versus Tate showdown picked up serious energy and real momentum when Logan Paul openly entertained the wild idea of a doubleheader. He envisioned both Paul brothers taking on Andrew and Tristan Tate in the same massive event, a co-main event situation. Imagine that for a second, two brothers fighting two brothers in what would essentially be the ultimate family rivalry showdown. This kind of spectacle would undeniably break the internet, instantly capturing the imagination of fans, especially given the constant online friction and back and forth that has persisted between these camps for months, if not years. Adam Ross enthusiastically leaned into this doubleheader discussion, casually assigning matchups as if he were actually booking a fight card himself. He positioned Logan Paul opposite Tristan Tate, implicitly lining Jake Paul up with Andrew Tate, which made perfect sense given their respective sizes, fighting styles, and how they would ostensibly match up on paper. Even Logan himself seemed genuinely unsure which Tate brother he would actually prefer to face in the ring, suggesting at one point he might prefer Andrew for stylistic reasons, but then admitting Jake would likely push him toward Tristan due to their internal competitive dynamics and strategic thinking. When the spotlight finally turned directly to Jake Paul, and he was asked point blank about facing Andrew Tate with nowhere to dodge the question, his confidence was absolutely unwavering and total. There wasn't even the slightest hint of doubt in his demeanor or words. He made it crystal clear that he does not perceive Andrew Tate as any kind of long-term problem in the ring whatsoever, asserting that this wouldn't be some grueling battle. Paul fully expects a fast and completely decisive finish if they ever do meet, confidently predicting an early round stoppage, a testament to his ironclad self-belief. That ironclad self-belief and unshakable confidence in his ability against Tate were reinforced even further by Paul's open curiosity around Tate's upcoming fight. He specifically noted just how long Tate has been absent from active competition at a high level, emphasizing how many years he's been away from engaging in real fights. From Jake's point of view, which he has made abundantly clear, that significant ring rust and extended time away from fighting real opponents in genuinely competitive bouts could be absolutely decisive factors, potentially even the deciding factor, especially when facing someone like him who has been consistently active, training, and constantly improving. At the exact same time, others close to Andrew Tate and operating within his inner circle have been pushing a very different narrative, one that contradicts Jake Paul's assessment completely. Snicko, a frequent and vocal presence in Tate's orbit and someone who publicly backs him on every platform, went on record backing Tate to cruise through his scheduled fight with Chase DeMoor without breaking a sweat, suggesting it wouldn't even be competitive. He described the entire matchup as basically non-competitive from the start, strongly implying that Tate only steps into the ring when circumstances lean heavily in his favor, with every advantage locked out. Adam Ross echoed a remarkably similar sentiment, essentially conveying the same message from a slightly different angle. He reinforced this widespread belief among Tate supporters that Andrew's edge extends far beyond just physical attributes like size, reach, or raw punching power. From Ross's perspective, which he shared multiple times on streams and podcasts, Tate's years and years of intense discipline, rigorous mindset training, and extensive competitive experience across multiple combat sports like kickboxing create a gap that someone like DeMoor cannot realistically close, no matter how hard he trains or how much heart he brings to the fight. An intriguing irony did not go unnoticed by fans who have followed Tate's career for years and remember his origins. Sidekick Boxing, a well-known and credible brand in combat sports, had actually supported Tate through his rise in professional kickboxing, standing by him long before supercars, private jets, and massive global fame became part of his everyday image. Tate had spoken genuinely and positively about the brand during his competitive years. Seeing that same company interact publicly and engage with his upcoming opponent DeMoor on social media, liking posts and commenting, added another interesting psychological wrinkle to an already emotionally charged buildup. Andrew Tate, meanwhile, has fully embraced a dual role as both an active fighter preparing for competition and a powerful executive within Misfits Boxing. He dramatically relocated from Romania, where he'd built his empire for years.